And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Folks, today we're going to be taking a look at the expansion for Conquest of the Planet Earth called Apocalypse Expansion. Conquest of the Planet Earth is a game that, when it originally came out, can be played either cooperatively or competitively. The competitive game I found to be okay at best, but the cooperative game was really well done. So what I've done is I played this expansion. I'll be reviewing it, but only from the cooperative standpoint, because that's how I play the game at this point in time. The expansion has a lot of different things in it. Let's take a look at what it adds. The game comes with some large alien menace tokens, 5 denomination, but there's also orange and purple are in the game now. Now this gives you a chance to try out different colors, I suppose, but more importantly, the game comes with 3 more boards that you can use to play a 5 to 6 player game. 5 to 6 players is kind of pushing it, in my opinion. I mean, I like working together. 5 I can see, 6 is a little slow, but hey, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about new aliens. First, we have the Martian Confederacy. They're kind of your straight alien in a sense. 3/4 is not bad, and if their die rolls less than the number of aliens at a spot, then you win. So they have power in numbers. More importantly, though, the other 3 I really like. I like the Sirens because when your hero resistance comes to fight against you, you roll a d6. On a 5 or 6, the hero resistance helps you. Oh, Captain Fantastic, you're on my team. They're also +1 strength in water locations. These guys are really interesting because they come with this token that they can flip this token over by using menace tokens, but they're a 2/2, so they can either be a 4/2 or a 2/4. They're 2 aliens working together in some symbiotic relationship, and it allows them to go back and forth on whether they want to be stronger or have intelligence. And when they're smart, they actually have their event cards only cost 1 action point to play, so that's pretty cool too. My favorite alien, though, from here is the Quato. These guys are weenies. They're 2 and 3. However, they start with an alien stuff card. Oh, I love alien stuff. That's fantastic. And each non-ally alien card gives them +1 to their aliens, which is pretty good. And then they have the ability to spend and put down these alien forge markers on locations that have no population, which will give them either +1 strength or +1 intelligence. Now these things can be destroyed by the humans, but still, if these guys can spread out, they can be by far the most powerful alien in the game. The game comes with more space stuff, and space stuff is always great. Here's the Quato fire throwers and the anti-air cannons and splinter rats. But what are we really concerned about? What we really want to know about are the new allies. I love this guy. It looks like one of the beasts from Star Wars Episode 1. Queen Adora and her flying castle, which gives her +1 strength for each enemy hero. And then we got the Crux Terrestrial Warlords, which have a really great tank piece. They get to roll an extra die and choose which one to use. And then the Apocalypse Cube. All right, this, folks, look at that. A strength 10. It can only move 1 space each, and you can do it to absolutely destroy a location. Come on. Just having this figure moving around the board is super menacing, and I'm always tempted to shuffle it in the top third of our deck so that we have a chance to draw it, because it is awfully cool. Now, that's cool stuff for the aliens, but the humans have more great resistance cards and new technology. Force field defenses, I hate them. Long range rockets, I hate them. Teleportation, I hate it. This lets their infantry units get the move cards, but they also have more resistance cards where they add the SWAT teams and U.S. Army heavy tanks and the Daring Doctor and for some reason Marilyn Monroe and a hotshot pilot who will fly into the beam and destroy the whole alien aircraft. And then another Captain Fantastic. Now why did they do this? Well, 1, because they hate us, but 2, because Captain Fantastic is really ramping up his defense, so he's showing around the board. Now this game comes with some more locations. You have a new starting location, which could be a tech research facility, but there's also a lot of other new locations that have been added to the game. Many of these locations are water locations. This lighthouse, or possibly the fishing village, or the coastline, and this oil rig. And the reason that these are the sea, basically, is because when you attack them, there's coastal resistance cards that you will draw from. So you'll look through these coastal resistance, and you've got Navy fighter bombers, and marine biologists, and fishing boats. Okay, no problem. Navy aircraft carrier. Whoa! Now I'll tell you why that's a problem, because they have giant chits for these. When you fight them, when you finally manage to damage this aircraft carrier, it flips over to the air side and it's still there. And this one happens to bring planes with it. And that's not the only token that they got. We got battleships and destroyers that are in the game too. So that's a real pain in the neck, and it will make you think twice before attacking a coastal area. Not to mention, Captain Fantastic's in that deck too. I hate that guy. Stupid superheroes. Other than that, that's pretty much everything in the game, with the exception of several new event cards, which can be used for both the good guys and the bad guys. There's the one for the Apocalypse Cube, and here's a really annoying anti-war protest back home that will make all your things units strength -1. But there's all sorts of different new cards that are in the game, and I'll just wait. You basically just play the game to see how these work out and how these play. But they're fun, and they kind of work with the new races that are in this game. Finally, there's Terra points that you can play, that you can, if there's a location, you can get rid of one of your spaceships to establish like a little factory there, and that will add 1 to Terra point total, something which can be pretty critical during the course of this game. So you can see that there's really, a good chunk in here. Nothing that changes the game dramatically, but for example, adding the seaport stuff, adding the coastal regions with that and adding more Captain Fantastic, that's tough stuff. But they also added some really cool space stuff. So far, I have not yet beat the game with the Apocalypse setting, but I've come close enough to know that we can beat it. The extra players are fine. Like I said, 5 players is okay. 6 starts pushing the length of the game. But I'm still a really big fan of just how much cool stuff, and really with the amount of aliens in the game at this point, and the different powers, and you're never really sure what's going to show up everywhere. And it is a game where you can help each other, but there's still that combat of rolling the dice. Love all the extra stuff. It means really that, even if you don't want to play with the extra players, this is still worth getting, if only because it adds cards to every deck, and so every game is really going to have that unique flavor. And we got several new aliens, which are just a lot of fun. So there's many different things to pick from. So this is what I would call more of the same expansion, which is a kind of expansion I like because it basically just adds variety to the set. At the same time, it does add some newish stuff like the coastal regions and the ability to build terror factories and such. But that all works together in this game. Now, if only I could draw the Black Apocalypse Cube more often, but when it does show up, it is a load of fun, and it is the theming of this is still one of the best themes of any cooperative game, turning the whole space alien thing on its head, and where you are the aliens. A lot of fun. So if you like the game, this expansion is just going to be more fun for you. Conquest of the Planet Earth Apocalypse.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
You shut that door!